What family secret was finally spilled in your family? I found out my aunt was actually my mother. I was 17 when the lie finally cracked. It started with a fight. A dumb one. I forgot to take out the trash, and my grandma, who I lived with, lost it. But it wasn't just about the trash. It never was. "You're just like her," she hissed. "Ungrateful, reckless, no respect." I blinked. Her who? But she didn't answer. Just slammed the door and didn't speak to me for the rest of the night. The next day I texted my Aunt Sarah, my mom's younger sister. She'd always been the one I could talk to. She picked me up and we went for coffee like we always did when things got tense at home. "I think Grandma's losing it." I laughed nervously. She said I'm just like her, whoever her is. Sarah didn't laugh. She just stared at her cup, then asked quietly, "Do you really want to know?" I paused, because in that moment, I did. But I also had a weird feeling in my chest, like my body already knew something my brain hadn't caught up to. She nodded to herself, then looked me in the eye. "I'm not your Aunt Emily," she said softly. "I'm your mother." My entire body went still, like someone had yanked the plug on my nerves. "You're joking," I whispered. "Right?" She shook her head. "I had you when I was 16. Mom said we couldn't keep you unless we did it her way. So she raised you as hers, and I became the aunt. It was the only way we wouldn't get kicked out. I wanted to tell you 100 times, but every time I tried, I froze. I was scared you'd hate me." I sat there in silence, blinking through a fog of disbelief. All the weird pieces started to click. Why I never saw baby photos of me with Grandma pregnant. Why Sarah and I always had this bond that felt different. Why she was the only one who never yelled at me like I was a burden. I went home that night and didn't speak to anyone. Not Grandma, not Sarah, not even my best friend. For 3 days, I just existed in a daze, replaying every childhood memory like a movie that suddenly didn't make sense anymore. I felt robbed of truth, of identity, of years I could have spent knowing who I really was. Eventually, I sat down with Sarah. We cried. She apologized 100 times, and I could see the pain in her eyes, not just guilt, but longing. She never got to be my mom, not the way she wanted to. Over time, I let her in. We rebuilt something, not quite mother-daughter, but something real, something true. Grandma and I were civil, but I still haven't fully forgiven her, because some secrets don't just break trust. They fracture the ground you stand on, and once it's broken, it never feels quite the same again.